All right, team, C93. Again, cardio-based workout means that we're going to increase the cadence, lower the resistance, increase the range of motion, drive their heart rate through that, okay? So not driving the heart rate through load. All right, so C93, you actually have 3 circuits. You have a core circuit in the very beginning, then you have your anaerobic circuit. Now the anaerobic circuit doesn't really do a whole lot of core. That's why you're having a core before and you actually have a core after. On this one, again, we're always trying to cater to the beginner. The way this is laid out is we have a little bit more space here because of slam ball slams, a little bit less here because this is toe taps, and then you have your burpees to box jumps. So there you need to have that kind of spread out. You're going to need to get at least 4 people in each one of these stations because you've got only 6 stations. You got to get at least 4 people in there, so you need to be set up for 4. Okay, so circuit number 1, we'll go over the core exercise. The circuit number 1, you've got crunches. Now, for the normal person, this is more than adequate. So for the beginner, that's more than adequate. For those that want a little bit more, feet up. For those who want a little bit more, they extend. For our advanced people that really have a good core, here is your crunches, right here. Okay, so you notice I'm up. My whole body's up. This takes a lot more core strength, a lot more abdominal strength, and you can't sustain it for very long. Next is going to be bicycles. Again, we're going to start with the beginner. This is a bicycle for a beginner. You're basically coming down, both legs never come off the ground. Now, for the intermittent or more advanced people, here's a bicycle. For your very advanced people, again, make sure that they're getting enough twist, because what I'll see is something like this when they're in this position. You want to make sure they get enough twist in that so that they work their entire core. And the last one is going to be the feet flutter. Oh no, I'm sorry, V-ups is next. So V-ups, for most of our members, it can simply be something like this. They can just simply do a modified crunch. That's a V-up. That's more than adequate, again, for the beginners. For everybody else, here is a V-up, okay? Now, for the more advanced, it's going to be here and then back down. For your super advanced, you basically want to try to keep them up the entire time. So they're going to be doing something more like that. And again, balance is an issue too, so it's a little bit more challenging. But you're in this position, you're never giving your core any rest time. Okay, next is going to be feet flutter. Again, for the average person, you're going to have them put their hands underneath their glutes or their butt, and that relieves the stress off the lower back. This is for the beginner right here. They can even do their legs bent, and they can simply do something like this, increase the range of motion. As they want to get more, as they want to get a little bit more, they can just increase the length or just straighten out the legs. Again, for most people, for most of our members, it's going to be this, and they're going to be in this position, so their shoulders are going to be off the ground. For your super advanced, again, you're doing feet flutters, but you're keeping your entire upper body off the ground. That is the first circuit. Your main cardio circuit. You're going to start with slam ball slams, okay? Now, for the beginner, you're going to utilize, or for someone who's new, let's say the beginner, we're going to say for someone who's new, this is what they're going to use, or someone who's really deconditioned. You're never going to say that in front of a class, but for the people that you know, and you know who really needs this and who doesn't, they're just going to simply do this. Do not have an advanced person use this ball. They'll slam themselves in the head. Simple as that. Limited range of motion, limit the squat, limit the cadence on that, so they just go nice and slow and they pick it up. Ideally, they want to be able to catch it in the bounce, because if they have to come down like this for someone who's brand new and excessively overweight, that's going to be harder for them. Okay, normal people, what you're going to see most people do is this, okay? And it's just a matter of picking up that pace to get a little bit more out of it, but they can go as slow as they want or as fast as they want. Now, for the more advanced, this is the minimum that you want to see for a more advanced. Catch it on the bounce and increase that cadence. You want to go even higher, add the jump in there. Pretty straightforward what to do with the slam ball slams. Next, this is going to be the slam ball toe touch. This is really simple to elevate or to bring down. All you're doing here, again, for the beginner, simply touching the ball. And it can literally, for someone who's really out of shape, this is more than enough. Okay, we're not trying to destroy the people that are beginners. Otherwise, they're never going to stick with us. Now, for most people, they're going to want to pick up that pace. For most of our members, it's add that hop in there. And then for some, again, it's a sprint. Make it as easy as hard as you want. Next, and this is new, is the burpee to box jump. So what you're going to do, again, for the beginner, they're simply going to do a burpee, just like this, okay? There is no box jump, okay? Simply a burpee. For most people, it's going to look something like this. They're going to come down, do a burpee, and then they're going to come up here, and they're going to step up, okay? Now, they want a little bit more out of that, come back, and they hop up, step down. You want a little bit more out of that. Okay, it's all about speed. It's all it comes down to. But you don't want somebody who's not capable of that speed doing that speed, because they'll end up head first into the mirrors. Or the wrong size box height. You don't have to go crazy on the box height. Trust me, that is hard enough. Only the very advanced people need to use the bigger box. That's why you're going to want to have another setup over here, because we need to have at least 4 stations, 4 people. And these big boxes is going to probably be a bit much for most of our members. Okay, so you have another station over here, and you're going to put some risers underneath that one. Next is going to be the RIP 60 mountain climbers. Now, on the RIP 60 mountain climbers, this is a twofold exercise. Clearly, we want them to get an anaerobic workout here. They just did box jumps and burpees. Biggest thing is box jumps. Where are they landing? They're landing on their balls of their feet. They're putting a lot of stress on their calves. Then we're going to do, I think it's jump over box, or is it lateral run? It is lateral box run. And where are you at the entire time you're doing a lateral box run? You're on the balls of your feet. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to stretch out those calves. So not only is this an anaerobic exercise, so we want them to keep that heart rate and spike it, but we want them to get a stretch in their calves. If we do this, they'll never run into issues. If we pay attention to the active stretches that we have built in to the workouts, the active stretches, the active rest, and all that stuff, most people, as long as they're doing the warm-up and the cool-down, will never have any issues. But if we don't do that, then we're going to run into issues. Now, what I see here is this. Calf's not going down. I'm tightening that calf as I come up, and I do this right here. It's a short little motion, and my toes, I'm on the balls of my feet. Not on the heel, but the balls. I'm creating more of an issue with my calves. This is what you want to see. Calves go down, okay? Now, for somebody who's overweight, you don't want them very far down, because they could pull, especially if their calves are tight, with, say for example, they're 200 pounds. That's 200 pounds coming down on that calf, pulling that muscle, potentially strain it. Okay, so this is what you want to see. Faster, a little bit harder, as long as you've got the range of motion in your calf. You just keep going further and further back, okay? So again, it's twofold, but stress the fact that you want to make sure that they get that calf stretch. Next is going to be the lateral box run. So lat box run is simple as on, off, off. So for most of the member, or for the beginners, go down with no risers or minimal risers, and it's simply about just walking on, walking off. That's all they're doing. On, off, off. Now, for our more advanced people, pick up the pace. All you're doing is picking up the pace. For the super advanced people, it's speed and keep ourselves level. That makes it harder, because we always have that tension in our legs. They never get a break. And of course, you can raise the level of the step. That's going to make it a little bit more challenging. Now, last one is going to be the medicine ball clean and press. On this one, critical to keep the chest up. Now, what you don't realize, you want to be in a wide stance. When you do the clean and press, if you do it properly, you're actually opening your hips. You know that when we do our exercises where we do the sumo squat and we do in our warm-up, we're opening our hips. This is an active way to open the hips. Come down, keep that chest up. If they can only go this far before they do this, they only need to go this far. Make sure that you do not see people doing this. This is all lower back. Okay, we want to get the medicine ball to the ground, but it's not as important as the form, not nearly as important. Now, again, if you want a little bit more, you simply add a little bit of speed. Then you can add the hop. But again, remember, there is a principle behind each one of these exercises, and a lot of these exercises have built-in stretches to them, built-in recoveries. That's a built-in stretch, just like the mountain climbers. Make sure the members utilize them. It will minimize injuries and prevent issues in the future. Now, our last exercise is going to be, our last circuit is going to be back to back. There's no rest. So we're not giving him a rest. It's a core finisher. What you're going to do, again, crunches for the beginners, and then you're going to go right into a leg lift, just like this, okay? Now, if they can't do that, they can simply just do the flutter right here. Crunches into a flutter, but they're not stopping, okay? Now, more advanced, obviously. Here's our crunches, and then we hold it right here. Super advanced, here's our crunches, and then we hold it, okay? So you can make it as advanced and as hard as you want to make it. Now, unless people, for our advanced people, unless they have back issues, which some do, but unless they have back issues, push them to get them off, get that chest or get those shoulders and back off the ground so they actually get a little bit more out of it. Trust me when I tell you, it makes a huge difference. It increases it dramatically, and they probably won't be able to do it the entire time. That's okay, but at least you're pushing them. We want to push them, but we want to push them without any injury. So their team is C93. Now, again, the team challenge. It is critical that the team challenge is fun and it creates relationship. If your team challenge is not fun and it doesn't create relationships, think of another team challenge. It is critical that we actually get more into a team aspect of it on the team challenge. That is what the team challenge is all about. Have fun, create relationships, then the byproduct is also to finish off the workout. But most importantly, have fun and create relationships. And their team is C93.